Okay, now we will be creating a tiled floor. So what we want to achieve is tiles that are not entirely shiny, that are not entirely clean. In other words, just more realistic. So our tiles need color. So we will put, to start with, into the diffuse slot, we will put a V-Ray color map. This will be our tiles color. So let's just put that to almost black. So we get black tiles. This is a 6 by 6 meter plane just for demonstration. Now, tiles, they're usually reflective. So to make them reflective, we'll remove the Fresnel refractions. We'll put reflectivity to something, well, not high, not low, something around the middle. And now if we render, we will get a mirror. So we change blend to GTR, GGX. It's slower to render, but it gives you much more realistic shine and much more realistic highlights. And we have the color set. It's actually black, even though it's very reflective. But since we don't want a mirror, we need a map that will regulate the reflectivity and the blurriness. Here I have a made before map, and what we want is glossiness. So we will take this map, which is a map I have, and we will put it here. So we can already see that this gives us smudges and blurs and whatnot on the surface. So if we render now, this is all like too shiny. Although there are very hardly visible, if at all, smudges, it's still shiny. Let's put that map because this map, no, this map, not this map, sorry. We'll have a mask map. So we want grouts in the tiles. So we will put this into the into a composite material. Keep it and add a new layer. The new layer, we will make it lighter. Again, gray color for now. And we need a map to draw the actual grouts. I've prepared a map for that. This is a 6-sided tile, two of them, and this is tileable. I drew this in CorelDRAW, but it can be done in Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop or anywhere. Just make sure it's styled. So if we switch on show maps for this map, we will get this. Now, obviously a tile is not about 6 meters high or wide or big. So in order to make that realistic, we have to know the size of the tile. So let's just say the tile is around 30 centimeters across, which means this is 60 centimeters and it's basically 60 on the vertical. So we will change the texture, and we are currently changing this texture to real world scale. We'll put 60 centimeters, the size, and we can see it now. Why? Because we don't have the UVW map on the plane, which is set to real world map size. This way we get real sized tiles. So if you know the size of your tile or the texture with your tiles by counting the number of tiles, knowing their size, you can just type in the size of that texture in the actual texture settings and coordinates by using real world scale. And when you put a UVW map on your object with real world map size switched on, you will get realistic size. You will get the real size of the tile or the texture. So let's see what that gives us. That will give us, well, not really much because we want the grouts to be white and we want the tiles to be black. So that means we have to invert this texture, which is done in the output here. Invert. And now we have white grouts and black tiles. So let's see. We can already start seeing some tiles showing through. We will also use this texture for the bump. Or just copy it to the bump slot and then remove the inversion because otherwise it will be wrong to stick out the grouts, and this way now it's sticking out the actual tiles. Let's make it stronger so it's visible, and we can start seeing the actual tiles show up as a bump map. Now, but still too shiny. So let's play around with the reflection and see where that gets us. We put this down. Too shiny, those tiles. So let's put it down and see. And as you can see, we're already starting to get something. Now, the reason we are not seeing smudges from our map in glossiness is because it's because this map for glossiness is on a different channel. I put it on a different channel because if I put it on channel 1 it will never work. Channel 1 is already taken by the UVW map of the tiles themselves. So we will add another UVW map, change this channel to 2, and change this channel to 2, and switch on show mapping. So here we have the smudges that will modify the glossiness of our reflection. Let's just check what mapping channel this map is on, and it's on 1, so it's okay. So let's render and see. Now we can actually see some smudges on the tiles, and they look much better. Now since we're using a map for the bump, we can see that the bump here is very blurred. It's smooth, and these tiles don't really look like proper tiles. So we will go into the bump map slot and we will reduce the blur to say 0.2. This should give us a much sharper bump and make the tiles much more tile-like. Now we might be lacking some bump strength, and that is why we don't see the tiles sticking out. They are though. So let's see if we can help that by increasing the bumping. This is a very basic method of making this kind of material. Ideally, if you can, you will model the actual tile and then you will just duplicate it all over the floor you need, or whatever surface. But usually you don't have that much time. So the quick way is to draw a tile and do it like this. Now, in place of this hexagonal tile, you can use any black and white map for anything. So if you don't want tiles like this, you can go here and change this to an actual tiles map. 3ds Max comes with a tiles map which makes tiles. We'll discard the old map. Let's have a look. The bump is still there, so we will copy this as well. For now we'll put it just like that. Now it's the same. Let's just check the colors. We want the crowd to be down, so it has to be dark. The tiles need to be white in the bump map so that they stick out. Here it's okay to use maximum and minimum values 0 and 255, but never use them for anything that has color because it's not realistic. There is nothing in this world that is absolutely black or absolutely white. And if we try and render now, the tiles will probably be way too big, or we won't even see them because we have real world scaling switched on. We just see the smudge over the surface of a uniform gray surface. Now, it's again, this map should be reversed, but instead of going into looking for inversion, all we do is simply change these two, swap them, and make this grout map white color, and make this, well, almost black. And we have blackness, but I forgot to make sure that the tiles are actually displayed. So I will go again, as with any map, use real world map scale. Let's put 60 by 60, even though we have 4 tiles in this now. If we switch, have 4. So let's say each tile is 40 centimeters. 40 and 40 is 80, 80 and 80 is 160. So that is 160 by 160, sorry. And now we will have 40 centimeter tiles. Although I haven't done that for the bumps, so they were not bumped. Have to do the same thing for the bump, or do it once and then copy the bump. See, again, 160 centimeters by 160 centimeters. And now they will even have bump. There we go. And the bump also seems to need some inverting. So let's swap these. And there we go. Again, this is blurred, so we will remove the blur on the bump to get cleaner grouts. Now for added realism, what you may want to do is give a texture to the actual grouts between the tiles. To do that, you need to change the white color of the actual grout to a texture. So let's see if we can find some texture to, yeah, some texture to use as dirt. I will not go deep looking for this. Anything will do. Here, this map looks okay. It's an old style kind of thing. So we will put that. We will show it to be displayed. But since we don't know or and don't care about the size of it, we will put it on channel 2, which is our channel we put previously. It just covers the whole floor. And now if we render and look at the material, the grouts will have this texture on them, which is not really obvious here, but let's just come in and look a bit closer. Strange. Let me just check. Yep, everything is correct. I guess I should choose a different texture for demonstration purposes. Let's take something in color, something that we can actually see. And there we go. We have yellow grouts now, which actually have a texture. So if you render this at a higher resolution, you will actually see a texture in there. Actually, no. You would just see the color. Now you would see the texture because I forgot to change the map channel. And there we go. It has variations. So let's just, for the fun of it, change this yellow to black and white by clicking on the bitmap, taking color correction, keep the old map, and just go monochrome. I use color correction almost all the time because it's much faster than going into Photoshop and opening the texture and editing the texture and saving a new texture file and whatever. For these basic things, you don't need that. If you want that to be more obvious, you can go in here, switch on advanced and reduce the gamma, which makes the actual texture darker. Then play with the pivot, like reduce the pivot to get it more contrasted like that. Let's see. It's everywhere. It's even on the tiles, and that is because the mask here is not black. It's actually gray. So let's see. As you can see, there is a texture on the actual grouts. You may want to use a noise map or something. The point is, this is the way it's done. So you can either use a color by a V-Ray color map or a texture so that you can get a texture in your grouts. There are ways of making the grouts dirty. So have it be dirtier in the middle and cleaner on the edges to simulate dirt that has gotten into the actual grout. And that you can do that by using another tiles map as a mask to a texture map and then change the size of the grout in your tiles and get a border. So, but basically, let's have a look at it from afar. One final look to see what we are getting. The whole key to the effect is the texture that you use for reflection glossiness. So that texture should not be too contrasted and it shouldn't be too desaturated either. So, well, desaturated, too non-contrasted. So let's have a look at this, what it looks like. As you can see, it's mostly white with the smudges being black. This is a Grant Warwick texture, and he made this by smudging the screen of his uh, iPad and then photographing it under properly set up light, then inverting, and you can get this. It's just a tip for how you can make your own smudges if you need them, because this is good for objects as well. You can actually use or make your own tiled uh, glossiness map. But generally, this is the principle of how it works. So bump map should be 0 for texture, 255 for grout, which is weird, even though it should be the other way around. Let's have a look. Maybe I have just made a mistake. See what happens. Yes, it should be the other way around. Black is down, white is up. So everything that's black is lower. And here we go. This is actual tiles. Well, that's the general principle, how it's done. So take from it what you will.